He has a master's degree in psychology and has used it to create an innovative training system for faster, better results. Today we talk with Igor about chess coaching and obsession with chess in general. Igor, welcome to October Obsession.
Thanks for inviting me. I think that your project is very interesting, very inspirational for people. It would be a privilege for me to take part.
Excellent, man. What is chess?
In my opinion, chess is an intellectual sport. Let me ask you guys one simple question. Let's say you want to be strong physically. You want to have big muscles. What would you do in that case?
I go to the gym and I work out.
Of course, that's a pretty obvious answer. But what if we talk about our brain, how to make this muscle very powerful? This question is not that straightforward, right? So here we also need to apply some specific tools. And same with our physical condition, we need to understand that it will not increase by itself. We need to put some efforts here. And chess is one of the possible tools to achieve this ultimate goal.
And when you started training in chess, did you start playing the game? Or were you mindful of, I need to train my brain to be able to capture the games? Or how did you come to this conclusion? When did it come in your evolution?
Of course, not from the very beginning. My very first game I played at the age of 5 or 6 years old, and at that time, of course, I hadn't thought about that philosophical things. I came to that later, and I don't remember exactly, but anyway, when I thought about the value of chess and what it gives to me, and actually talking about the value of your project, I also think that enthusiasm or motivation or obsession, whatever you call it, is the key element really, because this is what drives you. This is what forces you to do something. No matter what is your goal, in any case, you need to put a lot of efforts to achieve it. And the most critical moment here is your motivation. What really drives you? What will drive you to put hard efforts day by day, year by year, throughout maybe your whole life? And that's why when I started thinking about that, I came up with those, so to speak, philosophical ideas about chess.
I want to elaborate a little bit more about it. Okay, so it's something that can be, I am a horrible chess player, or I have been. I'm trying to use the wrong word. I have been, whereas Rod is better. But is it something that I can train? I can truly train. Is it something I can truly like get to? I'm really curious about that.
Of course you do, Juan. Definitely. I'll be glad to help if you wish. But in general, I think that there is one situation which is typical for many people. I can say that with confidence because thanks to the internet and our remote chess academy, I communicate with thousands of chess fans all over the world. And I've noticed one situation which is unfortunately common. There is a person who tried playing chess game, was fascinated with that, and then he tried to continue and tried to progress. He studied some books, some video tutorials, and he progressed at up to a certain level, but then he stuck there, and he can't really progress further. After that, people start thinking that maybe they don't have enough talent for chess. Maybe they just don't have that natural ability for that. Based on my experience, I can say that it is a false statement and false idea. That's not true. A lot of those guys who stuck at a certain period, when they were given the proper coaching, they broke through and got a tremendous progress with a few hundred rating points ahead within just a very short period. So I think that it's not a matter of some talent. As Einstein said, it's genius is 1% talent and 99% of hard work, and I think that it's applicable for chess as well.
So Igor, if I have absolutely no talent for chess, and let's imagine I start taking your courses from the very first course you brought out, obsessively studying and finishing each course, and then all the way up to the final course. What are my results? Would I be able to beat you, for example? What are the exact results of taking your courses? How good are they?
Well, I would be very happy if you would be able to beat me after that. That's the dream of every coach. You can be better than him, and it's a really talented coach. Anyway, speaking seriously, of course they cannot guarantee that you will become the world champion. Here it's a combination of different factors. Oh, yes, I do agree that there is some natural abilities for chess. Some people digest it easier, a little quicker. That's true. And not everybody can become the world champion. You need to start very early, and you need to dedicate your whole life to it. That's the very specific thing. And usually you also need to invest a lot of time, efforts, money into that long way forward. And only then you will really succeed, or at least have chance for that. But what I can say with confidence is that you definitely can become a strong player. That's for sure. So this is an achievable goal for everybody. And if you study my courses, I don't know if you can beat me or not, but you will definitely be a strong guy.
So you said you have to. Sorry, Juan, go ahead.
No. How did you get? Tell us your story. Your first encounter with the chessboard, and how did that build to an obsession into being an amazing player, and then being a coach, and just coming up with the system? Because it is like the combination is very interesting and unusual. Lead us through your obsession and how it led to where you are today.
The first game I played at the age of 5 years old or 6 years old, I don't even remember. My daddy showed me the game, and I was fascinated with it. We started playing unlimited quantity of games. I've always been losing and crying. Somehow it didn't discourage me. And then I remember we had 2 books at that time, only 2 books about chess, and I read them both a couple of times, just because I had no other ones, so I read them over and over again. And then when my parents saw that I'm a little bit crazy about that, they drive me into a local chess club. Then I started to train more professionally, so to say. Of course, at that age, it's hard to talk about real professional training, but anyway. Later on, I progressed pretty quickly. At the age of 13, as Ron stated at the beginning, I became an international master, and I won already a couple of international tournaments, and in youth championships I took some prize places. But after that, surprisingly for myself, I stuck at some point. Although I didn't stop training, I've been training as hard as before, maybe even more, but surprisingly I couldn't really break through, and I stuck at a certain level, and I didn't really know what to do, because I've been training all the time, but it didn't produce the result. Of course, it frustrated me, and then I realized that I probably need to understand this whole situation, that this is a challenge that I need to take, and to understand what's going on here, and how can I change that for the better. At that time, I started to learn psychology. I wanted to understand how my brain works, and how can I force it to work in the way that I want. So I even got a degree in the university in psychology, and then after a lot of struggling and research, I finally understood how silly I was before, and I understood what I should do in order to progress. And that, of course, from one side, it was very motivational. I knew what to do. From the other side, it was a little bit of frustration, because I knew that I wasted a couple of years of my life, basically on doing useless things. Yeah. Those things which does not produce results. And then, of course, it motivated me really to share my new findings with other people, because I thought that if I wasted those years of my efforts, then okay, at least I can warn other people. At least I can tell to them how to do it properly, so that they can start doing it instantly, right from the very beginning. And I thought to myself that if anyone would only tell me those things when I was a little kid, so that I start progressing effectively right from the very beginning, 20 years I would already be a top player. And I thought that at least now I can help to other people. And when I started doing some coaching, I saw that it really produces great results, honestly, surprisingly for myself. So when the first student told me that he progressed for like 300 rating points within a few months, I didn't believe him. I thought that it's just he's trying to impress me. So I checked at the FID website his rating, and I saw that that's true. And then I was surprised that really my coaching is working very well, even better than I could expect. So my students got better progress than I got when I was young, although I was considered to be a talented guy and progressing quickly. So that's how I came to chess, and of course I enjoy it a lot. Now it gives me the opportunity to communicate with a lot of awesome people, very intelligent, and also, even if we talk right now I can communicate with you in your very interesting project that will motivate a lot of people. And all of the guys that I communicate with in chess, they are excellent people, and I have a lot of pleasure in this activity.
Chess is a blood sport. When I was in New York and I was at Washington Square Park, I ventured into a place where they have the chess boards one after the other, and they have the practice of the loser pays, which is irrelevant because it's more and more about it's not about money. But as I walked, I walked because I'm a very curious type. Did not belong in those halls, and I saw a bird of prey looking at me because I was a stranger there, and he walked right to me and he said, "Let's play immediately." And we sat, and he beat me in 8 seconds. I mean, it was bloody. Pa, 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 pa. There was no comparison. It's like Mike Tyson versus me. In Russia, it must be worse, man. I mean, you are the motherland of chess. How is it? Is it like as everybody around you thinks, or especially as a kid, and you rose from that? What is your insight on that? It's a national sport in a sorts, and you succeeded. It's like, how would I say it? How does that feel? How does that energy feel? Oh, he fell. The question was too strong.
It's a great question.
Where's the Oh, I'm seeing his courses. They look interesting, man. But it's I really want to take one. Like which one should I take? I think I should get a free trial and see how I am after October Obsession. Maybe it's gonna help my.
There's two that are pretty good, the Grandmaster Secrets, and there's also the other one that's Positional Play or something like that.
And how are they? Do you just do the movements, or he explains why you do the movements? How does it work?
He explains the whole thought process that you need to go through in order to make each movement. Basically, what you need to think before you make every movement.
So he's not just telling you move rook this. He's telling you why you would do that.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting about his books. You're not studying specific openings, specific moves. You're studying more on how to think, on what to think about before making each move.
And would you start at the opening one, or would you start at the?
No, I would start with the Grandmaster Secrets course.
And even but you're a good chess player. If I'm not a good chess player, would you start there?
No, definitely there, because it gives you an overall view of the whole game and how to approach the whole game and not a specific part of the game only. And with that course, you will understand why openings are the way they are, instead of just memorizing the moves, no?
And it's something, and you buy it, and then you can play it?
You buy it, you take the lessons, which are video lessons, and then there's a bunch of exercises and training that you need to go through. It's long. They're pretty long courses.
Oh, Igor's gone.
Oh yeah, I got back.
Oh, excellent, man. We're talking about your courses right now. I was zooming through your site. It looks very interesting. So we're back to obsession with chess in a country where everybody prides themselves on that. How was that experience, and is there something about the thought process that allowed you to succeed in that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Do you want to know more about chess in my country?
No, about your experience, you're successful in chess in a country that prides itself with chess. So I don't. Do you hear my anecdote that's coming to play chess? And this guy looking at me, and is it like this in Russia? Or is it more of camaraderie? How is it?
I would agree with you that there are different approaches in different countries. I can tell you an opposite story that you just told to us. Once I played in a tournament in Jordan, in an Arabic country, and that was a local cafe where people drink tea and play board games. You know, the Muslims, they don't take alcohol, so even in that cafe, although it was late evening, they only drank some tea and all those smoking equipment, Kalian, and board games. And they played various board games, but no chess. And I came with my friends, and we brought the chess board inside. We brought the chess clock, and we started playing Blitz, those quick games, which are very thrilling to people because you have to move your hands very quickly. You have only 5 or 3 minutes per game, or sometimes only 1. You're really rushing with your moves, and it's very exciting. At first, those guys around looked at us and they thought that maybe we were crazy or something, just some crazy strangers. But later on, around 10 minutes after, a crowd crowd of people formed around us. They were very interested in this chess game, so some of them knew how to play. We showed them the story to interact, and that was a very friendly, very nice atmosphere.
Okay.
Because yeah, so that's actually I enjoyed it a lot, because in the Western world we tend to approach the chess or any sport as a competition, as something bloody, you know, something where you need to be really tough, where you want to win, you want to break down your opponent. But at the same time, we can consider it as a pleasant spare time when you can communicate with other intelligent people, and really it creates that atmosphere, you know, like a wise book or a good friend, a cup of tea or coffee or an art, all those things that create that positive, intelligent atmosphere. And chess also can do the same.
Is there a moment? Is there a moment?
Sorry.
Okay, Brad, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really obsessed about the physical part of chess. Now, for example, you were mentioning now about making the moves really fast. It sounds like you really need actually physical, agile hand movement techniques to make the moves and to make captures and push the clock. Does it affect it in a way? Do you actually practice moving the pieces fast?
Well, not really. Of course, it comes with practice. When you play a lot of blitz games, it will help you just to be accurate, not to throw pieces on the board, but to place them accurately exactly on the square where you intended to place it to. Anyway, I wouldn't say that there is something specific here.
And also physically, can you make any type of gestures? Because, okay, here in Chile there's a plaza where everybody sits down. We have a lot of tables and people just sit down and play. And of course there are the typical people that go every day obsessively, they play every day and you start recognizing them. Most of them are kind of crazy in the sense that they make all these faces while they play, or the gestures they make when they make a move with a piece, or how they capture one of your pieces. Are there like any physical things that people do in tournaments or that you do to actually intimidate or distract your opponent and things like that, or is that just bad play?
Besides chess, I do martial arts, and once my coach in boxing, he told me this: you need to try to attack from different angles. So when he knew that I'm a chess grandmaster, he told me, so first you try your opponent on a chessboard, you try to attack him there, and then if he can withstand that, then just try to deliver a hook. And see.
I love it.
Nice.
Visual game.
On a serious note, well, I don't know. Some people believe in that, you know, staring face when you really try to intimidate your opponent. Some players even consider to have a little hypnotic skills, like they're hypnotizing opponents with their eyes, like former world champion Mikhail Tal, or even the current world champion Magnus Carlsen. Some say that he's somewhat magician, you know, that his opponents make obscure mistakes that they would not make against other opponents. But honestly, I don't believe in that. I think that, you know, luck is always on the side of strong players. That's a very easy explanation.
Is there a move? Wait, sorry, Rod, go ahead.
Go. Well, just one more. Continuing with the concept of the physical thing. Is there any type of board or style of board, chess board, that you prefer or have a fetish for? Basically, do you still have the first chessboard that you got when you were a kid, or how does the actual board affect you? When I play in tournaments, sometimes the pieces are broken, and that really perturbs me. It was really distracting. Or I prefer the board which is actually table and black and white instead of the green and white colors. Is there any kind of obsessive, weird fetish that you have with chessboards?
Luckily not, although at the beginning I really had a lot of them when I was just a kid and played in local tournaments. Luckily I won some of them, and all the time they gave me as a prize the chess set. I was always shocked with that. I thought, do those guys really think that a chess player does not have a chess set yet? Anyway, they always presented me a new chess set, and I had a lot of them. Later on, I just started to give them out to different people. Anyway, I knew that you could ask me that question, so I even brought my first chessboard with me. Here it is.
Oh, nice.
This is a very old one. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's maybe 25 years old or something like that. I still have it, although it's not like a fetish. it's still with me. I would agree with you, Rob, that I also prefer the classical chess set with a wooden board and wooden pieces. turning back to what I said a few minutes ago, I think that creates that really nice feeling, that mood, of an intellectual game. Because you can play on computer, but this is an electronic device, and it does not have that, spirit of chess, spirit of that very old royal game.
Excellent. I'm gonna get it. I have a record player I got on Saturday, and I'm getting a wooden chessboard today. I'm gonna get in my house. Now, one question I have: is there a moment where you're playing someone and you say, "Okay, this is a real game"? Is there an intuition? Is there a move? I'm not saying he will beat you. I'm not saying that you will. It's a moment like I need to take. Because you often see grandmasters, they have this game with 20 people at once, right? And obviously, because they kind of know the foibles and mistakes of they're so common and so clear to them that it's. But is there like a move that you does that really happen, or is it just a figment of my imagination?
Sometimes there are critical moments in the game where you need to take time and to make that critical decision. In chess game, initially there are like two armies, black and white. Chess is a model of war, actually. And at the beginning, that's pretty simple. They just deploy their forces, move them forward, and at a certain point, there is a moment of collision when they meet each other. And here, this is the critical moment where it will decide who will be on top, who will overcome in this battle. And at this point, usually, you need to be very wise, and you need to think very well and find that right move that could turn the game into the direction that you want, and that can really be the key for your future win. So it's
at the point of attack, there's like 5 or 6 moves from the beginning to the maybe 2 moves forward, 3 moves forward, where you kind of get a sense, is this attack cogent or is this guy just moving pieces, right? Would you characterize it this way or no?
Well, the wise strategist should know it in advance, whether this attack would be successful or not.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Okay, sorry, when I see soccer games or American football or rugby, the role of the referee there it's pretty obvious, kind of, right? What does a chess referee do? What is the role of a chess referee? It looks like the chess game is kind of passive in a way. I can't imagine fights going on. Actually, I can, but I just want to state the question to you. What is the role of the referee in a chess game or chess tournament? How important is he?
Oh, the role is minimum. That's right. Unlike other kind of sports, the referee, generally it would be very nice if he would not participate at all in the game, because it means that everything goes flawlessly. There are no conflicts. Sometimes people may climb a draw at some specific situations. They might apply for an arbiter if their opponent do something wrong. But normally there is no reason. If both players behave properly, there is no reason to engage an arbiter.
Have you seen any conflicts there? Any fights to say during the tournament or games? Are people like really that passionate, or maybe in informal games?
At really huge tournaments, usually not. Although some players they start, not shaking hands, saying that they don't respect each other and things like that, or come with those black glasses, like from the fantastical film, the guy, the superhero. But in local clubs, that happens a lot, especially when kids are playing. They're very emotional. Pretty often, if they lost, they can, throw away the pieces or something like that. There was one guy in England. My friends told me about him that when he lost the game, he always stand up, abused everybody around, and went out from the hall. But that's an exceptional situation. That's just for the sake of joke. I'm telling this. Normally, all people are nice, and there are no such issues.
Cool. What's up with the bishops? I've seen in your training courses that you give a lot of importance to the bishops, even over the horses. Because technically speaking, when they give scores to the different pieces, the score given to the horse, or to a knight, sorry, and the bishop is the same. I think it's 3 points. But you teach that capturing a horse and remaining with a bishop is actually a big advantage. It's actually one of the secrets you mentioned. So what's going on with bishops?
Well, firstly, since you mentioned horses, let's just compare. Have you seen a horse and you know, like in Russian, by the way, the bishop is called an elephant in Russian chess set.
Excellent.
And if you compare a horse and an elephant, it's pretty obvious who is stronger, right? Okay, being serious, that's a common delusion that those two pieces are equal, because manuals for beginners say that these are two equal pieces, but this is a simplification and that's not exactly correct. Normally, in order to compare the piece's power, you evaluate its scope of action, how largely it can affect, you know, the different area. And if we compare the knight and the bishop, we'll see that the bishop is much powerful in terms of the area that it can control. Standing on the center of the board, it really controls the whole board. That's why bishop is more powerful. And people noticed a long time ago that bishops very often are crucial pieces, because they put constant pressure in a certain direction, and that they can determine a success or failure of your attack. And while with the knight, well, in most of the cases they are active. You can jump it on a nice square pretty easily. But with the bishop, it's possible to be either completely passive or very active. So the possible range of activity of the bishop is very huge, and it can affect the overall evaluation of the whole situation on the board. That's why very often bishop is the key.
Cool. If you, let's imagine there's a table right next to you, a chair where you're sitting down. On that table is your first chessboard that you just showed to us. Who would you dream of playing against? Who would come over, shake your hand, and sit in front of you to play maybe the final game of a tournament?
Once I met Garry Kasparov, who was one of the greatest players when he was active, and maybe he's one of the greatest players ever in chess history. And it was very pleasant to meet with him and to communicate with him. He's a very energetic person. Perhaps this is common for all successful people. He's very energetic, he's full of ideas, he always wants to deliver something, to do something, to change something in the world. So I would definitely be a pleasure to play against him. If talking about players of the past, I would select Capablanca, the former world champion. I'm impressed with the clarity of his games, and he's also considered to be one of those natural talents, natural genius, who just took it easy, who, like, without any significant efforts, got to the very top and ultimately became the world champion. I think that it happened because he was able to recognize those strategic principles that drive the chess game, that can help you find the right move easily. And I'm trying to do the same in my chess courses. That's why it would be very interesting for me to communicate with him or to play against him.
Nice. You know, when I was really obsessed with chess, I've gone through stages of that. It actually brought me problems in the sense of balancing it with everything else, and especially with my partner or with my wife in those moments. Because basically you get so obsessed that you leave a lot of things aside. And then at that point I was thinking, maybe I should date a female GM, and then there wouldn't be any problems. And when I look at pictures of female GMs, they're actually pretty cute, which is surprising to me. What's the relationship there between chess players in that kind of level? Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I can be an expert here. I also married a female chess player. Everybody now asks us, do you play chess between each other at home? No.
And do you?
Well, actually, surprisingly, almost not. We have other things to do.
Okay.
Just we have a lot of chess at work. Anyway, she's a coach for kids in chess, and I'm also a coach. So we have enough chess as our working activity. Anyway, the women chess players, of course, a lot of them, they are intelligent, they are cute. A lot of them are awesome, and I know it's pretty natural to have a relation with them. I know some couples amongst chess players. There is even one proverb, so to speak, between chess players. They say that a good marriage will guarantee you additional 100 of rating points, and a bad marriage will bring you down 100 rating points. And I use some examples that this is true. Really, sometimes a nice female, it can boost your results, it can motivate you. And it happened with some people. Even their wedding trip, they made it the wedding trip to the tournament. Uh,
There is, coming back to from the what people normally think about chess, and I'm the outsider now. Is it different the skills that a child